Good morning, Unity. How are you?
Good morning, Cobb. I'm fantastic. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. A little intimidated. It's our first podcast. It's my first podcast, and it's happens to be our first podcast as well. So, very exciting day for us.
It's exciting. It's January 7th, 2019. It's a new year, and it's our first full year of legalized cannabis in Canada, and things are really shifting, and I'm excited for what's coming up.
And what are we doing here with the podcast? We don't quite have a name yet, do we?
We don't have a name, and we're still defining it. I think that as we get to know each other, and we each have our own strengths, and I think that we've both been creating content long enough to realize that it's also our audience that decides what we discuss according to what we get the most response from.
And I'm looking forward to interacting a lot with the audience, getting you guys involved in what we're doing and how we're doing things, exactly like Unity said. And let's start perhaps with, feel free to DM either of us over our Instagram accounts. What's your Instagram account?
So my handle on all my social media is the same. So Unity Marguerite on Instagram, Unity Marguerite on Twitter, Unity Marguerite on YouTube, Pinterest, and Facebook. Keep in mind, I do keep my Facebook for people who I know personally. So always best to use Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Very nice. And I guess I'll do my shameless plug as well for Matchstick Marijuana. You can be found at Matchstick Marijuana on Instagram, as well as on YouTube, at Matchstick Fire on Twitter, which I haven't quite gotten around to getting, and LinkedIn, well, we'll leave that one off for now, but I got to work on my elevator pitch here a little bit, but that's who I am and what I'm coming to the table with, so... Beyond that, I'm really looking forward to getting down in dirty into some details. We've got a busy week ahead, and we're going to get into our calendars here in a second, as well as, open up and see if you guys are going to be joining us and give you guys some opportunities to get involved as well.
Absolutely. I'm super excited for seeing everybody this week with Lyft. Wednesday is the BC Independent Cannabis Association's monthly talk at the Kwantlen Polytechnic University in Richmond. It's located in the Wilson School of Design. This Wednesday, it's Marketing Yourself, Social Media, and the Personal Brand. It is being moderated by Jamie Shaw of Groundwork Consulting, and it features Jill Pollard of the Herbalife, Bethany Ray of Flower and Freedom, and myself of Bliss Cloud. So come join us, and we're going for dinner afterwards. Everyone's invited.
That's pretty awesome. And this is exactly what I've been talking about as far as being unpolished, but at least present. What you've got going on there are significant notes, and you're just well polished with everything you do, Unity. So anything that I'm going to be spitting out here is going to be a little bit more off the cuff. My Wednesday night isn't as exciting as well, I'm not going to say it isn't as exciting as yours. It's not as intense of a social event. Mine's a more intimate gathering with some industry friends in Yaletown. So perhaps we're going to Manami, I believe. So,
what are you guys doing after?
Afterwards, I have no idea what's going on afterwards. I'm typically not somebody that's out much beyond 10 p.m. So this upcoming week, there's stuff going on well beyond 10 p.m. almost every night from Wednesday till Sunday. So
Thursday, what are you doing Thursday, Cobb?
Thursday is the symposium, the micro symposium. That's being hosted at the Pan Pacific Hotel by CCI, or Cannabis Compliance Incorporated. These guys are leading consultants in Canada that essentially get their clients and their partners under the radar, over the line, under the wire. I'm not sure how you refer to it as, but essentially get those Health Canada approvals properly and efficiently. So that's what that group does. They're hosting a micro symposium, I'm assuming, speaking to the micro cultivation licenses and how that is going to pan out, and how it already is, given those licenses, I believe, have already been applied for by dozens, if not hundreds of people in Canada. So that should be an interesting event that evening. And I believe that's still open. If you do check out CCI's website, again, that's Cannabis Compliance Incorporated, or check them out on Instagram, and there are links to the Eventbrite ticket.
Yeah, and I think this is a great event for anyone to go to. As we transition into legalization, there are lots of people who have been growing in the black and illicit market and spending a lot of time up in the Kootenays. I also know there's a lot of resistance and fear about legalization and the disconnect between Ottawa, Toronto, and BC. So for anybody who is really curious and perhaps wanting to transition, or even if you just grow, I would attend this for sure. And just, it's a great opportunity to understand that you can totally do this. You've got this.
Well, and the fact that it's open, it seems to the public, that it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to be in industry. And I have so many people constantly asking me, how do you get into the industry? How can I get my foot in the door? And some of these people are new to cannabis. Some of them aren't even involved with cannabis. But they're always asking, how can I? And events like these are amazing because this goes beyond just working with the community and getting to know people that are hustling out there, trying to build something better. But these are people that actually have existing industry and their industry and their corporate. And if you're looking to actually get a job in that arena, these events that they've opened up to the public are perhaps the most valuable events you can possibly attend. Get yourself a business card. Start building a little bit of a personal brand. Bring your resume, at least a digital one, but I mean, come to these events and press some flesh. I keep using the term press flesh. It kind of makes some people uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, that's what you got to do. You got to get out there and, get out there and be seen and be involved.
Yeah, very, very true. Thursday, that was Thursday,
right? That was Thursday,
so Friday, we've got, as you were saying, the industry day at Lift. So that's a great day. I'm going to be there for sure.
Absolutely. I'll be there as well. I'm sure we'll probably work the room a little bit together here and there. So,
and it's the women's lunch that day. Some great women speakers. I believe the lunch is $100. So once again, just as Cobb said, come out to that.
Very nice.
And then that night is the party night.
There's 2 parties going on. At least 2 that I know about anyways. Why don't you give me one of yours and I'll give you one of mine.
Well, I'm going to start my evening at the Stash Club Blunt Brothers Amsterdam Cafe party. This is clearly a craft industry party, and I went to their event at O'Cannabis, and that was the best party during O'Cannabis.
Yeah, Stash Club was, they had an event as well over Christmas, and there was some pretty rad giveaways also. So it's, that's the one thing I do enjoy about the silver market, as we now call it, in defense to the black market. The silver market is a little bit more flexible because they're unregulated, I suppose you can say, and that's great. So they throw a great party. I'm looking forward to that. That's also on my agenda also. The second one I think is on your agenda too.
Yeah.
My second agenda is the Choom party. Choom is hosting a little bit more of an intimate gathering, I believe. Not too intimate, but smaller and not necessarily open to the public either. So, very industry focused, I think.
Yeah. So that party's interesting because it's one of those cannabis parties where people refer to it by several different names because there's so many people involved in it and brands. This is the party, the Choom party, also known as the Funk Hunters party. Yes. And what else? Someone else's, I've heard it called other things as well. And this is the party where everybody seems to be going to this party Friday night. Mm-hmm. This is the place to be Friday night.
Very nice. I like the place to be. Everybody's always asking, what is the place to be? What is the place to be? I like the Choom's part of that. And Choom is part of Aurora, so I suspect there'll be some similarities from their events team that is working on this program as well. But with that being said, again, it's the incestuousness of the cannabis industry. We're all touch points somewhere. So this is Choom, though, and I'm glad that they're at the forefront because it sounds as though Lift in general is somewhat celebrating the craft side of things. That's what I'm hearing with a lot of this. It's the micro growing symposium. It's Choom being put out front instead of Aurora. So that's what I like seeing right now. Is that I think we're moving a little bit more into that specialty sort of marketplace, which you and I think both are eagerly awaiting with bated breath.
And maybe that's why Lift is such a popular conference, because it really is a conference where craft come out to it, or the silver market, where at O'Cannabis, the craft and silver market had a very, very almost absent presence. So O'Cannabis was in December. Yep. So very business focused, amazing conference, I will say. Mm-hmm. It's definitely one of the best I've ever attended, but Lift seems to have more of a... Everyone loves Lift.
Well, Lift has been around now. This is, I think, their third, if not fourth, maybe, conference. I remember when it was just kind of, sketchy tables with backdrops. This was probably 3 years ago now. It was awesome, though. And I remember people at the time being all frustrated because there weren't smoking lounges. Well, it's legal now, and guess what? There's still no smoking lounges. So, but it's a beautiful outdoor setting in Vancouver. Hopefully the weather's going to hold like it is today. It's absolutely gorgeous. Hopefully the sun is shining on Lift in Vancouver this week. So.
Yeah. And then I also want to talk about the Vanderpop party on Saturday. I don't know if you know about this. I didn't send this to any guys. So Vanderpop, they're doing Women in Weed in Vancouver, and it's at the Maritime Museum near Kitts Point. April Pride, the founder of Vanderpop, is hosting it. And then there's going to be a whole bunch of other amazing women speaking at it. Trish Lackey, Dr. Carlin Costa, Ashley Brown, who I love so much, Olivia Harris from Levo, Charlotte Langley. And this is a brunch, and I believe it's like a walk-around networking brunch. And this is the one event where I extended this invitation not to the women I know within cannabis, but I extended this to all the women I know outside of cannabis. So women who I know who are perhaps consumers but not out of the closet, or women who have sent me questions so I know they're curious, or women who I know are more trendsetters. Because Vanderpop does an excellent job at showing this other narrative around cannabis. And that's the narrative I want people to see.
Well, that's the discussion I've been having a lot these days, is talking about being able to bridge to other genres and other industries. Lots to do with fashion. There's so much beautiful fashion and lifestyle-oriented things within cannabis, but we don't seem to be drawing in the people that are focused primarily on fashion and lifestyle. We're focused primarily on cannabis. They're focused primarily on fashion and lifestyle. If we in cannabis, we're the new guys here, right? We're the new kid at school. Yeah. So we got to be able to be humble enough to create an environment that welcomes them and makes it accessible for them. And Vanderpop is doing just that by creating these beautiful accessories and this beautiful branding, we'll call it, and not using that in a bad way. It's a great way to brand cannabis in this sophisticated sense. Yeah. But we need to start creating events that are less cannabis focused and more focused on these other genres. Let's create an event where we can bring out lifestyle and fashion vloggers and bloggers and have them in a comfortable setting that they're used to, and introduce something like Vanderpop to let them know that, hey, guess what? All that beautiful stuff that you're doing in your genre, it's going on over here, and hey, wouldn't you like to celebrate that over there? All of a sudden, we've created accessibility. We've created diversity within this accessibility. This is awesome. That's what I love about Vanderpop, and I love about what you're doing, is the fact that you're creating this sophisticated environment for cannabis. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So hats off to you guys.
Love the fashion and the beauty. One more event can I pitch?
Yes, keep going.
So I have no idea what's happening Saturday night. So that will be fun and interesting. I'm expecting kind of a last minute party announcement, but maybe not.
Saturday, yeah, I've got, again, I'm going to an event with CCI. I don't think that's a public event though, again. Although it is something going on at the, at Park Lounge. There's a D6, it's at D6 Lounge and it's at Park. So I mean, those are public, or open to the public environments, obviously. So, that's where I'm going to be at myself personally on Saturday night. I don't know that it's an open party necessarily, but there's certainly going to be industry people out and about at that venue. So,
is that a park?
No, Park is in Park with a Q. I don't normally advocate or advertise or otherwise for casinos, but it's the casino down by Pacific Center, or by Rogers Place, excuse me, not Pacific Center, Rogers Place.
I love it. And they did a great job there. It's a great hotel.
Again, I haven't been because I'm not out after 10 o'clock, and that's way too far away from my home to be having to walk home at that hour. So,
see, yeah, it's my hood. So.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want good Korean in the West End, well, you DM me. If you want to know what Park is like at 1 a.m. on a Wednesday, well, Unity's got the dilly on that. So.
So Sunday, Lifford Cannabis Solutions with Weed MD featuring token bitters and accoutrements.
Oh, very
they
nice.
are having the Lift Après at an undisclosed location, and that is going to be, they already sold out the first round of tickets. I think the second round's almost sold out. And the idea behind that is, I think people are just going to come and go. I think people are going to be exhausted. I imagine it kind of just being like a come by for a puff, hear all about Lifford and all these other brands, and probably just some easy, casual, fun conversations.
Yeah, laid back that's kind of what it's got to be at that point. It's like, yeah, really after that schedule that we just went through, I mean, that pretty much is going to take up almost the entire podcast, is just what's going on this week in cannabis. Did anything go on in cannabis the past week? I mean, is it anything notable to be talking about? It's been generally slow over the holidays, which it is for everybody usually, so no.
No, nothing. I mean, I took a vacation, my first vacation in a long time, and I wasn't planning on it being a vacation, actually. I was just with a friend, and he was on vacation, so by default, I was forced to take vacation because he would not let me bring out my phone or my computer.
That is, you need to detox and you need to detach from, I'm not even going to say reality. I don't even know what real is anymore. You need to reattach yourself, tether yourself to reality by detaching from the digital world. So good on you for doing that anyways. And you did it in the right place. How is Nelson? How's Nelson taking to legalization? And just as a background, Nelson is one of the hotbeds in Canada and in the world for quality. I would possibly say the highest quality cannabis grown in BC, and you all have heard of BC Bud. That's where the best in the fucking world is coming from. I'm sorry I'm swearing on a show with Unity, but it is unbelievable. So how's Nelson? How's Nelson faring with legalization?
It's fascinating. So I have been getting my cannabis from Nelson for well over a decade. And it is known as like BC Bud. When I remember traveling the world at 18, people talking about BC Bud, and it does come from Nelson and a lot of other places in the mountains of BC. So as I was saying earlier, the fear and the stigma and the resistance is real. There's a real disconnect between Ottawa, the government, and what it's like to be living in this province, which it's very, very challenging to navigate. It's very, very hard to find employment opportunities and incomes to support our families when we get outside of the Lower Mainland. And that's why so many people grow. And that is something that we really need to acknowledge from a provincial point of view and the government point of view. And we really need to work with these growers into transitioning into micro-cultivation. So there's a lot of talk about co-ops starting out there, and that's really, really exciting. And also just supporting a connection with people out there. And there's a lot of opportunities. So as you were saying earlier, that's what you like about Choom and Aurora, and we really need people who are wanting to invest in cannabis to start hitting the ground and meeting these people and having true, authentic relationships and supporting them in transitioning.
And I think too, it's reaching out to the right people that you trust. I mean, even myself, you're talking about cooperatives of growers. You are obviously connected to some people, if not directly to the growers themselves, that are looking for these opportunities or that have already taken advantage of these opportunities that can relay this information and help you not have to reinvent the wheel. Mm-hmm. Someone like myself, this is a perfect free plug again for the CCI event on, is it Thursday? It's Thursday night. Yeah. I keep getting my nights mixed up, but the Thursday night. If you are a micro-cultivator, come out to that event. Yeah. It's open to you. Meet people that are actually helping other people get these licenses. Ask the directors questions. Mike Elkin, he's the director of their security and facilities. Come on out and talk directly with him. Talk to their executive team and find out, how can we do this? Talk to us if you want to reach out to people in your community and not industry. Let Unity, let myself bridge you to that as well. Feel free to reach out to us. But everybody needs to start working together, and I love that there are these cooperative opportunities for some of the best growers in the world to finally be showcased on the shelves of the Canadian retail system.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the fear is how low grams are selling for. Although I did go to City Cannabis yesterday, and I'll have to say their prices are a little bit outrageous there.
I know there was a couple of misprints on that, from what I understand, but yeah.
Wow, it was, $29 for 2 half grams was, anyways, we're not going to go there today.
Yeah, we won't go there too.
Back to topic. So what I like to communicate to these growers is that they're not really competing with the big LP cannabis that we keep reading about. And that's because their market's different. They're going to be hand trimming, like how they're going to be growing it is different. So their grams are going to be like AAA, quadruple A. So they're going to sell for a lot more than what we're seeing on the shelves right now.
That's a little frightening, but I mean, it's well earned and well deserved.
Yeah.
And by comparison, again, we're not going to get into it too much, but by comparison to the average of what you are getting, what you will be getting when the craft market enters, is almost a night and day difference in almost every single case.
Yeah. So it's the difference between drinking like a beer and a Glenfiddich. That's it. You know, and people, we can talk crap about some of these LPs.
I've got you swearing now.
And what I really like to point out is we have to remember, yes, we want good quality cannabis, but we also really want to have gratitude and acknowledge how these LPs are bringing employment to these towns and reawakening towns like Smith Falls. I went to Smith Falls a few years ago. I've gone there quite frequently over the years. So I was there when the Hershey's factory was there, and I was there after the Hershey's factory closed. and Tweed going in there and bringing employment and people to that town, I have nothing but respect for that. And that's why I do support these LPs, because I love the idea of Canadians and new immigrants being able to have employment opportunities.
Well, it's finding the glass half full instead of the glass half empty. I've had people say to me when I talk about Hilary Black, for instance, who was one of the pioneers here in Vancouver and in Canada, opened the first true medical dispensary here in Vancouver. I speak to Tweed or Canopy, her working as a consultant for them. And I've had people turn around and say, oh, Canopy has exploited her this and that, and no, she's, or you can look at that and say, you know what, there's good people on that side of the fence. And you have two choices as to how you frame your view of people like Hillary. There are a lot of very passionate people in pretty much every company that I've seen. So far, there's somebody in there that gives a shit. Now, I like it when all of them give a shit, but at the end of the day, it's how you frame it. And we need to find and source the best people, industry and community, and like you said, start bridging these things together.
Totally. Yeah. So what? So what if Canopy or Tweed is the Budweiser of cannabis? Who cares?
Somebody has to be the Budweiser of cannabis, all right? And you know what? At the end of the day, somebody does have to infuse the industry with the significant amounts of capital simply to move forward with things, to create new things. And sorry if these are the guys that are creating it. I get it. Some of them all of them are speaking at the end of the day to a shareholder, but that doesn't mean that everybody within that. How many people are employed? Like you said, by Canopy?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Come on. Pull your heads out of your asses, people. There's good people everywhere. Let's find them. Let's celebrate them. If they have shitty cannabis, then we'll witch hunt them. But at the end of the day, I can guarantee you're going to find a good person everywhere you go in cannabis.
And I love the moves. I think it's a strategic company, like you said, hiring Hilary Black and other leaders in cannabis. They do amazing marketing. Have you seen their video? Where they're like, they have all the major employees and Snoop is in it. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, that's Adam. My boy Greenblatt. Adam Greenblatt.
It's awesome. I just love it. I love that brand. I think they're doing an amazing job. They're creating a different narrative, and I have nothing but respect for that.
And at the end of the day, we all know them. I mean, part of that is because of the news, but at the end of the day, they have taken very well to branding. They are a machine, and you can't fault somebody for being a branding machine. So far, you can criticize some of their cannabis perhaps, but at the end of the day, they're not really trying to exploit anybody. And I've been a lot more offended by some of the rinky-dink bullshit that's gone on with some of the other LPs than I have been with the messaging from people that we're vilifying. So let's put this one to bed. Yeah. Good people everywhere, and I'm looking forward to interacting with them, meeting them, and reconnecting with them this weekend. So as are you. We're going to run out of time here, so I'm going to just start firing off some new... We're done with the schedule, though. We've got the schedule down for the next week.
Normally it shouldn't take that long.
Yeah, normally when Lyft isn't in town, next week is going to be a fairly quick update. So this is probably a good intro as to what our podcast is going to be doing for you, which is keeping you up to date on what's happening. Outside of that, we're going to do some shameless plugs. What's going on? Anything specific with Bliss Cloud right now with Unity Marguerite?
Yeah, Bliss Cloud. So the plan is I'm going to be doing free webinars. I was going to start this month, and we'll be doing that. And I'm just talking about legal cannabis, what strains I prefer, what brands, why I make the choices I make when I'm purchasing cannabis and the results that I'm receiving from that. And it's going to come to January 28th, where I really teach people how to roll joints. And I'm going to be working with Verde V, a company out of Montreal, where we're going to be collaborating to make sure people have beautiful tools to roll their joints.
That's awesome. And you and I think are both, or well, at least we're both based in flower, but I'm joint by trade. I'm joint by trade. No offense to the health nuts out there. I'm healthy in every other way I can be. And not to say that it's not unhealthy, but it's, I'm a traditionalist is I guess what I'm trying to say is that, I come from a background of smoking weed. That's what it is. And I don't mean to use the term weed in a negative way either. It just is the way I was I grew up with it. Let's put it that way. So. And
we have to remember we had to use lingo like that to work around, the criminalization and stigma. So words like weed or ganja, people think, that's not slang. That's the Sanskrit or Indian word that was used for thousands of years. So that's a good word to use, ganja.
Well, and it's in the context that you're using it as well. I mean, if I'm presenting to a group of doctors, the last thing I'm going to do is use terms like stoner and call them a bunch. Hey, what's up, stoners? Let's get down to business and talk some weed, man. No, it's you need to be able to adjust your setting the same way I do when I'm not dropping F-bombs in certain environments, right? So our culture is based in a lot of these words, and when our culture is using these words, we're not using them in any negative ways. So again, it just comes down to context in that regard. I'm going on a rant here.
What about yourself? Okay, the question, what are you doing this week and this month, Cobb? What's happening in your life?
Well, starting my first podcast, so that's exciting, or our first podcast, as the case may be. I've got a lot of dinners, meetings, socials this week. Obviously, we heard about the calendar. I'm launching a weekly update for my content that I'm going to be producing. My production quality is slowly going to be getting better, and I'm going to be shifting to more of a YouTube format as well. So we'll be launching that formally at least over the next few weeks, but we're trying to perfect what we have right now. We'll have our website up and running. I say it's still me. It's still just myself, but Matchstick has the website up and running, matchstickmarijuana.com. There's a couple of blogs up there, or a couple of blog entries anyways, and we'll be continuing to provide written content. We'll also be posting our video content up there. I keep saying our because I hope we're going to expand here at some point to also include some of you guys contributing some of your personal content to essentially contribute to the message that we're wanting to send out there. But at this point, we got some basics going. I'm excited about that. That's kind of what's going on in my world.
That's right a lot. Now. Yeah, like I feel like, I mean, it's only January 7th today.
Is that, yeah.
So we're only we're exactly one weekend to the new year. And this new year, I feel like it's exploding. And there's a lot happening. And I love what you're doing. I'm excited that we're going to have more of you available for us to learn from.
Well, thank you very much. And likewise, with all of your initiatives, I hope to drag you in kicking and screaming into a couple of mine still yet. So beyond just a podcast, we'll be hopefully seeing you on some video content also. Do you have an industry pick of the week? Anybody that you're enamored with currently or have heard about? I'm just throwing that at you. You don't need to.
I think I think this week I'm enamored with all these things that are going to be happening this coming week in Vancouver. Just so many amazing companies. Lisa Campbell is in town. I think that she's a must meet person, and all the LPs. I'm excited too. I'm just so excited for Lyft. I didn't know I was going to get this excited. Yeah. But I'm excited.
Are you sure it's not anxiety and stress? Like I'm staring down the barrel of a very tiring, but I know what you mean. A very exciting week as well. I literally cannot wait to kind of just get out there. It's like I'm a horse behind a gate right now. I'm panting and I'm kicking. I'm ready to go.
Well, it's like you said you were working until 2 a.m. last night. I was working until 1 a.m. on Saturday. Like it's just been work. I know that you went to the Evergreen opening. I went to the City Cannabis opening. So Vancouver's first 2 legal cannabis stores. And neither of us went to the other one yet, and I think that both are very, very, very different experiences.
Drastically. So the hustle is real. We'll put it that way. So my industry pick of the week, I'm still going to draw attention back to CCI simply because they seem to be really knocking it out of the park as far as taking an interest in Vancouver cannabis and taking an interest in this conference anyways. So I see their name popping up a lot more than everybody else's right now. So hats off to those guys. Hats off to those guys. Community pick of the week. Is there anybody that from the community side that you'd like to highlight? And again, don't feel like you have to.
Oh my gosh, the community side.
That's the thing. That's like, hey, find something on Netflix to watch. The community side has a lot of people to celebrate.
So many people to celebrate. I think I'm going to have to go with Verde V because they sent me this most amazing package from Montreal. Yes, it's not Vancouver. But for me, they're a female brand to watch. I've been drooling over their Instagram for a very, very long time, and they strike me as a company that's been very, very strategic in launching. They've nailed every single element of this starter kit. The box that they deliver it in is branded. You open it up, the inside is branded. They give you this sealed package, which is beautifully branded, with products on the inside that are all beautifully packaged and branded. not unlike Vanderpop, very different in their design story, female focused, and bringing gorgeous products to market. So yeah, I would highlight them.
Awesome. For my community pick of the week, maybe I'll catch them now before they get licensed, but it's somebody that I would like to highlight regardless because they are part of it. They're ingrained in our community, and that's the Village Bloomery. And I know you're not going to disagree with that whatsoever. The Village Bloomery, Andrea and Jeremiah on all of your professional stuff, but Jeremy, you guys are two awesome people, and the Village Bloomery really is a beacon for everybody else in this country as to what you guys should really try to work towards as far as really putting a patient first and putting quality first. And I hate to say it that some of the stores have been somewhat hindered by the licensing simply because in Vancouver we still have a generally open market until all the licenses, from what I understand, have been given out. Which means that we still have the ACMPR cannabis is available in most of the dispensaries. So you now have essentially craft and boutique cannabis competing directly now with government retail regulated cannabis. So it'll be an interesting playing field over the next little while. And in my opinion, and again, and this is just where I stand from the craft perspective, they're at a disadvantage once they get that license in a marketplace that is still offering unregulated cannabis, because I think both of us can agree our favorites do come from the community side, myself. And my second notable was going to be Coastal Wildfire. They're a phenomenal group that is giving back to the community by growing some of the best cannabis in Canada. But that's secondary to our friends over at Village Bloomery.
Yeah, I mean, the Village Bloomery is the one dispensary I send everyone to. I've been to about 180 dispensaries across Canada and the U.S., and even comparing with U.S.
That's incredible.
I know. Even comparing with U.S. dispensaries, the Village Bloomery still stands out. One of the best things about that is that Andrea and Jeremiah, they're very open. Like, this is our dispensary, this is who we are. Their adult children work there, and so there's somebody there every single day that is intimately connected with that dispensary, and there's nowhere else that you can get that. And there's only one other place really in Canada where I really feel that someone's put their name on that business in the stigma that exists, and that's Abby Roach of Hotbox Cafe. Mm-hmm. She now has the Good Grass on Danforth in Toronto. And from her tweets, looks like she's still trying to get her license to sell cannabis in Ontario. And it sounds like it's a bit of a disaster going on over there. Farrell was chipping in and a whole bunch of people talking about it. So I really want to see these leaders like Abby Roach and Andrea and Jeremiah get their licensing. They deserve it more than anybody else in this country. So come on, government.
Yeah, for Hotbox and for mentioning Abby, she's an incredible pioneer as well herself, and good things are going to come to her. Absolutely. I mean, I think all of us are doing our best to build a foundation of karma, and that's what I really love about the people I'm surrounding myself with, is that we're building a foundation of karma, and this is all going to come back and come back in droves. So be good to each other and party on, dudes. That was, be excellent to each other. I was watching Bill and Ted's this past weekend, and really, as far as a stoner show goes, that is my favorite. Outside of, there is a middle bit of the scene where, it has to be taken out. They did use the F word in relation to gender, gender stuff. So it was, but that was my only issue with it. At the end of the day, it's interesting rewatching stuff from the 80s. Where so many things have become inappropriate at this point. It's not that you have to take it with a grain of salt, but they're almost, if you can edit something like Star Wars and create something absolutely, not great. I mean, I'm not happy about the result of Star Wars, but if you can actually take a classic like Star Wars and cut it up and edit it with crap and still put it out, you can at least take gems like Bill and Ted's and take out those one segments that are truly offensive in a 2019 world, and be able to just cut it out entirely without affecting the overall quality of the movie. So, why don't you guys, if you're listening, go out and watch that movie and see if you know what I'm talking about, if you catch the scene that I'm talking about, and maybe I'll send you some stickers or something if you get in touch with me with that. But yeah, that's, have you watched any movies recently, living in the bubble that we're talking about in Vancouver? Any movies recently, stoner or otherwise, that have created that sense of, wow, wait a minute.
Oh, you know what?
That's really weird.
The movie that really got under my skin, the first movie in a long time, was Ballads of Buster. It's on Netflix. What's it called? The Ballad of Buster. It's like a Western. It's the Coen brothers.
Okay, yeah.
And so you know Black Mirror?
Yes.
So it's like you take Black Mirror kind of creepy Twilight Zone concepts and you stick them in this Western theme.
Okay.
And it's 6 mini films by the Coen brothers, and it's all a Western theme, and but different types of cultural backgrounds, like different geographical climates. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. Still thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing to do with weed, but God darn it, like that got under my skin.
I'll have to watch it and see if I can pick up on as to why. So
well executed. Everything, and the thing is, it's so well done, and that's what I love. I love it when people do things well.
Yeah.
And that movie's so well done.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I need a recommendation. I'm horrible with committing to anything on Netflix.
That's a movie to actually like not look at your phone during and just commit yourself.
Yeah,
to
you gotta
watching
focus.
it.
Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, and that's what I say to everybody that starts a real good show. Like when it's something you gotta sit with it for 2 full episodes and put the phone away. Phone away. So, all right. Well, we're going to be running out of time here, so we should probably just wrap it up. We are going to be doing a few more fun segments as we go along, but right now, because we did have such an intensive calendar, I think we should probably start saying our goodbyes. So is there anything that you want to say before we wrap things up here?
Thank you so much, Cobb. I'm really appreciative that you put so much work and effort into making this happen. You're an amazing person, and I'm grateful that you've included me.
Thank you very much. All I really did was put stuff onto a Word document and push print. So, you know what? Bullshit baffles brains sometimes, and if I can basically put my best foot forward with a Word document and come out like this, we're doing awesome. Thank you so much, Unity, for doing this with me as well. This was a very intimidating experience and has forced me to learn a lot. You always teach me a lot as well, and I just wanted to say the reason I'm doing this with Unity is because of her absolute authenticity and integrity when it comes down to it. And I'm a big guy for ethics. I'm a big guy for people sticking to their word and standing behind what they're there to stand behind. And Unity is somebody that you can trust, and it's somebody I can trust inherently when it comes to cannabis and how I present myself and who I present myself with. So thank you very much, Unity, for even being willing to come on a program with someone like Matchstick Marijuana. But I'm Cobb Keen, and I couldn't be more thankful to have started my January with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Happy New Year, and I'm excited for 2019, and I'm honored to be here. Like, I respect the knowledge that you bring to cannabis and concentrates, 2 areas that I know I need to learn more about. So thank you.
Awesome. So thank you very much, and everybody, we'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll have a name by then. And beyond that, thank you so much for joining us, and have yourselves a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to just keep her running because, I think well, here, let's stop and see how bad I fucked up the beginning.